Join the Rotary Club of Neepawa for Rotary Presents, a twice-monthly presentation and Q&A with a different guest about topics at the heart of Neepawa.
Please welcome to the podium to discuss a recent trip that sounds fascinating to me, Ron Nordstrom.
Easiest thing to do when you're a speaker chair is to just get up and speak yourself, so you don't have to find anybody else. So that's what I've chosen to do.
You have invested quite a bit to get this.
Yeah, a lot of money, that's for sure.
Yes.
So recently, I'll talk to you about a recent trip to Iceland. We haven't, have you been to Iceland?
I have not.
You have not?
My brother was just there.
Okay. I'm hoping you don't dispute me on my exaggerated facts here. The tour we took was a 10-day Air Canada tour. So it was an Air Canada package that we found, and it included a car, included flight, and hotel accommodation. So basically, they gave us our accommodations, and Iceland has a ring road all the way around the island. They gave us our hotel accommodation. All we had to do was decide what are we going to do between this point and that point. And there was anywhere from about 100K from hotel to hotel to about 400K. So really, there was not a lot of driving necessarily, but there certainly was a lot of touring. So you know and the maximum speed is 90 kilometers an hour. When you've got 145-kilometer wind blowing at you, you tend to slow down a little bit. So we didn't drive incredibly fast. The roads are fairly narrow, although they're for the most part 2 lanes, except for bridges. Many of them are 1 lane. We had the whole day to tour. So kind of 2 different tours we took. And if you go to Iceland, you'll discover that this is a very popular tour from Reykjavik, which is the capital. They have a Golden Circle tour. And if you only had 1 or 2 days in Iceland, maybe a stopover from some other flight, that's the tour to take. Because the things that you see in Iceland are things like, and volcanoes and geothermal areas and lava fields and things like that. You can see sort of a mini version of all of it on that one little trip there. So that's the Golden Circle. But the other trip it takes more time. You don't have to take 10 days to do this, but we did. We took 10 days to go around the entire island. So that's kind of the route we took. Except we sort of deked into this above Reykjavik, this arm sticking out. We deked into there as well for a night or 2. Something about the climate there. Most of Iceland is just south of the Arctic Circle, and in January the average high is around 2 degrees, but the average low is around -2. So you think it's Iceland, it's way up north, it's going to be freezing cold. They have, because they're warmed by the same, I think, waters that warm England. It never gets really cold there, and it never gets really hot. So you can see the average temperature in July is around 14 degrees. It's not a great day for us, but it's a pretty nice day there, I tell you. And a low of around 9 degrees. When we were there, we had days around 0 was the high, and around -1 was the low. So not much variation. But we also had, I think, 1 or 2 days where it was about 13 degrees. This is the other interesting thing. Like we were there in, what was the date on this? Anyways, it was 6:27 in the afternoon, and the temperature at that time was 0, or somewhere around there. Sunset was 11:59, so midnight was sunset, and sunrise was 12:14.
15 minutes later.
Yeah. Actually, I think I got a typo. I think it was 2:14, so it was actually 2 hours later. Yeah, that's a typo up there. It was 2 hours later, but between sunset and sunrise, it was never completely dark. So and the time we were there, it was basically, we could tour, if we were worried about, will we get there too late to get good light for a picture? Never. You'll never get there too late. It was like, but conversely, in the wintertime, they're known for tourism with northern lights. Why? because it's dark almost all the time. So it's a touristy thing in the winter. Are things expensive in Iceland? Well, yeah, they sure are. Hot wings, 3,700 krone or something like that. I'm not sure you pronounce it, but in their money is $41.16. For that, you got 5 hot wings and a couple of fries. So, and it's in any restaurant. Food is expensive there. Why? Because almost everything is imported. Okay, so food is expensive. Things like automobiles, again, everything's imported, right? So, yeah, so certain things are expensive, but certain things are quite affordable. So why would you want to live there? Well, inexpensive hot water, heating, electricity, because of geothermal power, and of course, all the mountains and the rivers, the waterfalls, they have lots of hydroelectricity as well. Universal health care and free education, including university, post-secondary education. They have no army. They don't have to worry about being conscripted into an army. One of the lowest rates of income inequality. So in other words, there's not this uber rich and they're really poor. They have, it's like everybody's kind of, you know, in the middle there. And low taxes there. In 2011, I don't know what it's like now, but in 2011, the second highest quality of life in the world. So, yeah. So, it's dark. It's not real warm, but good quality of life. So we kind of, when we decided we were going to go on this tour, we really, in 10 days running around the country, we decided we won't learn a lot about the culture. But what are we going to see? We're going to see volcanoes, geysers, hot springs, lava fields, waterfalls, and glaciers. I mean, that's the landscape is really what we went to see. So there's hundreds of volcanoes, 30 active volcanoes. And 30 active volcano systems. So system could be one here and one there and one there kind of thing. So there's a lot of active volcanoes. Unfortunately, no eruptions while we were there, but there was one not that long ago near the airport. So this is an example of one of the geothermal areas. And as you're driving through the country, you'll see, I mean, this is a heavily touristed one, but as you're driving through the country, you'll just see steam rising from the ground over there in 5 or 6 different places. There's nothing built around it. It's not a tourism kind of thing. Other places, you'll see these geothermal areas with steam rising from the ground, and there's pipes leading from that to whatever, because they use it for greenhouses, they use it for heating homes, and yeah. So they've got this cheap source of electricity or of power down there. Got some pretty hot water here. They got fences around so you don't go near. And you know, these kind of steam vents everywhere, and a geyser.
Ron, do they have areas like radium hot springs, like, you know,
They
where
have
people actually
tons
can-
of areas.
Okay.
They're everywhere. Yeah. Probably one of the most famous is the Blue Lagoon, which is fairly near Reykjavik and near the airport out that way. Yeah, they're everywhere. And tons of waterfalls. This is one of the more famous waterfalls, I suppose. And yeah, it's pretty, you can see the people up there, so you've got an idea of the size of this. So there's constantly, year-round, there's stuff melting there. So you won't be disappointed. Say, if I go in the middle of summer, in the summer, will I see waterfalls? In Manitoba, probably not. But there, yeah, because there's glaciers constantly melting. And of course, volcanoes. This particular one on the Golden Circle was filled with water, and you could hike all the way around. It wasn't a particularly large one. But was it cold there? Yep, it was cold. So we wore whatever we brought, and you know, and we were comfortable. We did dress appropriately. So our jackets were windproof and waterproof, and you certainly want that when you go there. But it was cool, and usually fairly windy.
Is the wind normal?
A lot of wind is normal, yeah, and especially in the south part of the island, they tell us. So when this was first settled by Viking people that came over from Norway and that area, the Vikings, about 800 But there's about 25, they estimate 25 to 40% of the land had trees. Now, about 1% has trees. And so when we were going through, not surprisingly, we didn't see a whole lot of trees. Most of the landscape looked like that.
You know, the forest covers.
What's that? No,
Yeah.
that's right. But you know what? When we were in Scotland, the land looked a lot like this as well. So this looks a lot like Scotland, minus the lava fields. These are lava fields down below there. So there's some mountains there are hills, I guess, in the background, and some lava fields in the foreground. We didn't realize as we were driving through that those are actually lava fields, but they're ancient lava fields covered in moss. So it could be thousands of years old. And if you take a look at it close, you can see it's real ankle-breaking territory. So you don't want to really go hiking around this. But a lot of areas like that, you can see the scale there. There's the farm down below. A lot of horse farming, sheep farming, that kind of thing. I'll just show you a little bit of a couple of pictures of some of the landscape there. This is, I don't think this was not a glacier. It was just snow-covered mountain. That's a glacier coming down. And the glaciers generally had a number of arms. You can see an arm coming down there, another one up there, and there's probably one on the side in the back. The largest glacier, I think we saw at any one time when we were away, we saw 9 different arms or fingers coming down. So huge, huge glaciers. One of them took us pretty much a whole day to get to the other side. And lupins everywhere. It was a good time of year to go. The area was just covered, the ground was always covered in this beautiful purple lupins. And extinct volcanoes everywhere you go. We learned to look that when we came across so many lava fields, we learned to look, okay, there's a lava field, there's got to be a volcano around here somewhere. And sure enough, if you looked, you could find it, and often miles away from where the lava field was. And of course, most people live on the coast. The interior is not habitable. The interior consists of sand, mountains, and lava fields, and it's not habitable. So people live around the coast. So there's these beautiful coastal villages all around Iceland. This example of lava fields in the foreground and snow-covered mountains in the background with farms. I expected the entire landscape actually to be more like this. I was actually surprised to see there's farmland there, but there are vast areas of farmland that look like that. So it kind of looks like Manitoba. And the ocean is not far in the horizon on that particular picture. Because guys like Murray would want to know, well, what do you do for I would let you know right now. So it's mostly pasture land, sheep, cattle. We saw lots of horses. We saw lots of sheep. We didn't see too many cattle. We saw no pigs, no chickens. So they raise them somewhere, but not in large quantities there. So we have no idea where those places are. Some things are grown outdoors, potatoes, turnips, carrots, and they have lots of greenhouses, powered cheaply by geothermal. Horses raised for food, tourism, and sheep herding. Yes, food.
Food.
Mm-hmm.
Horsemen.
Yeah, not just there, a lot is exported. But they have one particular brand of horse, and it's the Icelandic horse. The only horse allowed on the island, no other horses allowed. And there are those fields that we saw, probably barley, I don't know, what it was, that could have been barley, oats, or what else, or rye, I guess, because that's what they grow there. The Icelandic horses, yeah, they were everywhere. And sometimes it looks like they're just running wild and like, why are these horses out here? They are generally fenced in, but sometimes the owners just let them go up the mountain and let them graze up the mountain. So sometimes it looked like there's just wild horses, but there's very few wild horses. There's a good chance they belong to someone. There's about 80,000 horses, Icelandic horses in Iceland. They live about twice as long as your average horse in North America. They have they have very few diseases there. They don't allow any other breed in because they don't want other diseases, and they don't want to mix these horses with anything else because it's a darn good horse. It's the horse the Vikings rode, and it's a good horse. So about 80,000 horses, which means one horse for every 5 inhabitants. Because the population there is about 390,000. And about a third of those live in Reykjavik, the capital city. So 390,000. Winnipeg is 850,000. So Winnipeg is more than twice. Winnipeg has more than twice the population of the entire island of Iceland. So it's not that well populated. Something about the Icelandic horse. It actually has two gaits that very few. Well, one gate that no other horse has, and one gate that few other horses have. They have these strange names, but in one of them, I think both right legs go and then both left legs go, or something like that. They have a different gait. Anybody know the name of that?
Well, pacers do that.
Yeah, it's.
Pacer horses and camels do that.
There's a tolt and a skittle. I don't know. If you're interested, look it up on the internet. But yeah, there's so many places where we just want to stop and take pictures of horses because this beautiful landscape. They just seem to be out there running free and.
Selfie.
Yeah. So yeah, this kind of horse around, I guess. We just happened to come across this guy who's herding these on his ATV.
So are any of them wild, Ron? Or are they
There's
all-
very, very few.
Yeah.
And when you saw them, you couldn't tell. But I mean, I looked on the internet to find out there's wild horses, and it says like 1 or 2% kind of thing. That just basically got out of the fence and went wild.
Yeah.
That would be a bumpy ride on the ATV.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's for sure. And I don't know how those horses could run like that on that uneven ground, but. And of course, everywhere we went, there were sheep. We would hike into some waterfall, for a couple of miles. We get to the waterfall, and there's sheep wandering around. We thought, who owns these sheep? They just seem to be everywhere, and there's no fences, but they're all marked in some ways. So somehow you find your sheep, I guess. They were just everywhere. And waterfalls. The first waterfall we saw, I was like, wow! We were amazed. By day 10, you pass these amazing waterfalls. Yeah, whatever. But this one, you can see, the scale of it. You can see the people down there and the waterfall. This one was kind of neat because you could walk behind. That dark area in the back, you can see some people there. You could walk behind. And one of the first ones we saw, there's a picture from behind. So it was kind of neat.
Tell us again.
I could pronounce one word in Iceland, Reykjavik, and I think I say it wrong. But most of the words were like that. It's thank God English is compulsory there because everyone there spoke Icelandic, and we had a really interesting conversation with an artist one afternoon. Went and saw his shop, and so we asked him. He had nothing to do, so we talked to him for a long time. And he was telling us about languages, and he said everybody speaks Icelandic to each other. That's just what they do. But English is compulsory, and they use it a lot, but only when speaking to non-Icelandic people. But their English is all quite good because they take it in school. And so we were really happy that everywhere we went, everyone could speak English. A bit of an accent that was sometimes hard to understand, but not as bad as a Scottish accent. By the way, this word, if you remember was it 10? Well, I can't remember, 2002 or something, there was that, or maybe 2010, there was that volcano that erupted and disrupted the air traffic and everything in Europe. That's the name of the volcano right there. So I can't believe, those people on the news were trying to pronounce that word. Holy cow. But yeah, most words are like that. You can pronounce the thing. That's not my picture. That's an aerial view of that volcano. The reason it caused so much problems was it erupted from underneath the glacier. And so it blew. And then, of course, as it melted everything, more water went in and caused so many problems, so much ash and so many toxic fumes, which is why it shut down air traffic. Everywhere you went, there was, if you wanted to hike into a waterfall, go into a park or something like that, there was never a fee. The only fee was parking, but it was kind of nice because you could be one person in a car or 6 people in a car, and it was the same price. So the hassle was everywhere you went, you wanted to park, you always had to get out your phone and get into the app and pay for your parking, because they've had a very sophisticated system where they put cameras and they watch you go in, and the cameras record your license plate. Then you pay, you say, this is my license, and you pay on your phone. If you don't pay as you're going out, you're getting a ticket as you're going out because you haven't paid yet. So you need to go in, park, pay. If your phone doesn't work, oh no, you don't have reception. But speaking of phone reception, they had this tool there that was about the size of this, and had a little wire, and we could plug it into our car, into the USB port in our car. It was our internet, and it worked wherever we went wherever we went in that ring road. And so we had internet in the car at all times. If we took this on a hike up the mountain, we had internet up there. We could take it to our hotel room. We had internet. So, they're pretty sophisticated in terms of those kinds of things. Another waterfall.
How close to the edge are you there?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
And it went out to the ocean. That's the ocean in the background. On that day, it sounded quite windy. The winds were gusting to about 144 kilometers, steady at 72 to 90 kilometers. We had crazy winds that day. So Category 1 hurricane basically is what we were in. But what are you going to do? You've only got 10 days there, so you tour. So we went around. So we had some pretty windy days. A couple of days later, we saw this, and that would have happened on that windy day. And on that windy day, all tall vehicles were forced off. I mean, they were not allowed to drive. So we had just a compact car kind of thing, and we could drive around. Taller vehicles were not allowed to drive. Somehow this person didn't know that. They went driving, and that's what happens when you got a tall vehicle, and that's that wind. This is a glacier with a bit of a lake in front of it. You can see it's, there's lots of dirt and things like that in the glacier. If you look really closely, you can see people hiking up on the glacier there. They had various parties up there hiking. I think I've got a closer picture. It's a bit of the water. There's hikers up there hiking on that glacier. Pretty windy day. They were trying to stand still for a picture. So it was kind of crazy. Black sand beaches, because of course volcanic. And that is the glacier you see in the background on the top of the mountain is the largest glacier there. And I think in a different picture, I'm not sure if it's on here, there's at least 9 different arms coming in. Lots of amazing landscape in the ocean. And of course, if there's all that danger in the ocean, there's lighthouses all over the place. Basalt columns. I mean, basalt, it's again, look it up on the internet, but it's a landform, it's a formation formed with volcanic activity. So, yeah, kind of neat to climb on. Right here, that's that same area, the big cave in there. And there's lots of people roaming around, so you don't get a picture of nobody in it. The lupins. More lupins. Oh yeah, the lava fields. They're driving along. Diane just stuck her camera out and was taking pictures as we went. So we saw these for miles and miles. But at first we didn't know what they were. We found out they were lava fields. They were everywhere. And where there's a lava field, there's a volcano. So you can see it's kind of ankle-breaking territory. Pretty windy. This is how windy it was. Yeah. So what are you going to do? You got to go do your thing. This is the basalt columns that where the top was, if you climb to the top, kind of thing, you can see that. So the top of these columns. You can see they're kind of hexagon in shape. It's kind of interesting. This was a glacier in a large glacial lake, which that lake sort of emptied into a short river, and then it dumped them into the ocean. Then the waves would push them back and break up the icebergs, and on this beach. And so it's kind of a diamond beach, they call it, because of all the. That's the glacier in the background. And there's you can see that's the actual glacier there where the icebergs are breaking off and floating downstream to the beach. That's kind of what the beach looks like. A black sand beach with all these gorgeous looking glacier hunks. That's how windy it was. They took the picnic tables, turned them upside down, put a huge rock in there. I don't know how they got that rock. That's a heavy, heavy rock. So that's how windy it was. Just another glacier arm coming down. This is an interesting area, and that mountain somehow is famous, but there's, you can get some really neat pictures because there's a very small amount of water there. And in the background, way back near the base of that mountain, there's actually this Viking village. A real Viking village? No. It was one they built for a TV series called The Witcher. So if you watch, that's where they had filmed that. So that's just a few pictures of that Viking village. They put a lot of detail and work into that village, for that movie, for that series. In fact, if you take a close look at that door, you can see all the intricate carvings and stuff. So yeah, a lot of work done for TV. Some tourist site, so Jared. And this is basalt columns and down next to a river. So pretty incredible landscape here. See all those vertical columns. It was about an hour hike to get in there. You can see it was a light snow. And then we immediately drove up and up and up and up and up and up. I think we were going over a mountain, and we came into this kind of weather. And it looked like the moon, actually, because you couldn't see anything. It looked flat. And it looked like we were, But we were heading to a waterfall. And so we hiked to this waterfall. This is kind of the landscape as we're hiking to the waterfall. Not real nice weather. That was a waterfall. I think we're standing on a lookout right now. That evening, there was a landslide and they shut this waterfall down. Whoa, we missed that. Then right after that, more geothermal areas where it was, again, you think it's so, the steam's coming out, it's gotta be so warm there. It was not warm at all. There's Diane, she is not warm. More smaller volcanoes, and this volcano there was about a mile across. So, I don't know, you math people, what's that radius? I don't know, or the circumference, but about a mile across, and so, there you go. Closer view, more waterfalls. Some weird landform. Oh, these waterfalls are different, because it wasn't just one river. It was along this whole area. It was flowing into a river and then flowing down. So it was coming from underneath the lava fields, so you couldn't see it above ground, but from underneath the lava fields, it was flowing. It was, definitely a different kind of waterfall. And we met Brady Unger. I taught Brady Unger in grade 5 or 6. We were halfway up the mountain and, hiking a volcano, and they were there, so that was kind of neat. And more basalt columns. Some other waterfall you can walk behind. More waterfalls, and then finally in Reykjavik. This is sort of the downtown touristy area, I suppose, of Reykjavik, and so some really interestingly painted buildings down there. The famous church, in exterior and interior, and the right-hand side, a couple of blockheads.
Well, that's why you didn't bring it all.
And then the street there called Rainbow Street, and it was you can see it's painted very, a long portion of the street is painted, and again, a very touristy area, and so I'm gonna have lunch there. And I like the sign, if you are racist, sexist, homophobic, or an asshole, don't come in. In spite of that, we went in. But, okay, and that's, and these two musicians, I really enjoyed this part. They're from the States, and they were playing a bunch of bluegrass stuff, so it was kind of a neat thing to see. That's it, and I see there's no time for questions, really.
We have one question.
One question, anybody?
Is that a hat you've got on?
What?
Is that a hat?
That's not me.
That's not
me.
Oh, that's
But
not
that's a
you.
hat. Yeah.
The Duke. Did you see a Rotary sign anywhere? Did you have any contact?
No, I did not see a Rotary sign. Not in the places we were. But we were, to tell you the truth, we weren't in very many places that would display something like that. So.
And if you want to see Icelandic culture, you go to the Interlake in Manitoba.
There you go. You know what? Everybody there knows about Gimli.
Really?
Yeah. Because when you tell them you're from Manitoba, they say, Gimli? So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So Ron, I've been asked on behalf of the club to thank you. I tried to see if I could get you a pen. I'm told absolutely not. I'm struggling to find the superlatives just to describe how amazing the photos are. Obviously, the landscape is just breathtaking. As the club here will remember, I'm incredibly proud to have been your exchange student in Sweden way back when. And when Ron talked about the aurora, which for much of their year it's dark, you can see it, but typically in the winter, the midnight sun, which apparently when you were there, you almost had midnight sun. That alone is worth the trip, having enjoyed that in northern Sweden where I was. But I've always thought Iceland would be a great place to visit, and now I'm more determined to get there. And I won't even need to search on Wikipedia. I feel like I've got all the basic knowledge of what there is and what to do. So on behalf of all of us, thanks, Ron. It was just a fantastic presentation.